Hi everyone, welcome to WW Designs. My name is Nikki and I am very grateful and very honoured to be part of Rach and Bella Crafts Christmas Craft Off collaboration. I am paper crafting together with some of the world's most famous paper crafters, and if you need Christmas inspiration, this is the place to be. I won't bore you with a long introduction. I'm sure you've already heard it 20,000 times, but if you haven't ever heard of this collab before, there is a link down below that will explain everything you need to know. Press that button and you will have all the details so that you don't miss out on anything. Now, Antonio Makes and I are up today, day 22nd of November, and the prompt we were given was a Christmas themed bunting. So that's exactly what we're going to make, but we're going to make it for a slightly different reason, and we will end up with something way more than bunting when this project is complete. Now, you will be aware that there is a beautiful kit. It's actually 5 kits that all go together that can be purchased from Rach and Bella Crafts. Details are below. And you can mix and match. You can buy all 5. It's up to you. Now, I will show you the parts that, I'm just going to show you the bits that I have printed off. Now, for those that don't know, I live on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia. Our Christmases are very hot and probably very humid. So even though this kit contained lots of beautiful blues and snowy things and icicles and all that fun stuff, I've sort of veered away from that because that's not what our Christmas is all about. So being a traditional Christmas lover, I love red, green and gold, and that's what I will do most of my crafting with. But here is one of the collage sheets that I will be using. I also chose this lovely green spotted background sheet. My favorite Christmas item, if that's the right word, is gingerbread men and gingerbread. So I definitely have to include the gingerbread sheet. Loved this one, except, of course, as you can see, as I'm merrily printing away, first magenta, then yellow, then cyan. All my coloured inks decided to empty. So we had a little bit of fun fixing that bit. Oh, actually here's proof of what happened. Have a look at these lovely things. Oops, but thankfully plenty of usable ones on this. So this is one of the backgrounds. Love poinsettias. We see them growing merrily here, especially in Queensland where I am. So had to use that background sheet. Then I also printed this one. Yes, it's got some blues in it, but that'll be great for some contrast. Love candles, presents. These are just delightful images. And lucky last, I'm going to be using this 3 tag sheet just as they are. And when I have done some fussy cutting, and I will then be back and I will show you what we are going to make. So now that I have all of my printouts done, I have to do some fussy cutting, and once that's done I will be back and I will show you what we're going to make. Okay, so what are we going to need to do this project? You have a couple of decisions to make, and it depends on how much time and space you have to play with. But the first thing is you need some shapes. These are going to be our initial bunting pieces. I've gone for a variety. So for example, this very first one is just one of the large tags in the ephemera kit, and I've printed these on matte photo paper because I get the most vibrant colours from my, on the older side, Epson printer. And even though it is quite sturdy, depending on what you have printed your pieces on, you might like to consider backing them to give them some sturdiness. especially where I live, it gets very humid at Christmas time. So if I didn't back these and make them quite thick, they would end up curling in. And I don't want that. I just had a piece of vanilla cardboard. So, you know, the craft cardboard you buy at the news agencies for kids' craft. I've just used that. But there's no reason why you couldn't use things like, you know, cereal boxes. Just keep the back as clean as possible, because you will be writing on that. So not too patterned, put the pattern side on the underside, but I just happen to have this sheet of cardboard, so that's what I've used. So first one is a tag. Then I have done some circles. I did get my die cut machine out to make these, but if you don't have a die cut machine, you can use a can, you can use a plate, anything you like, and just hand cut them out. I've thrown in some good old music paper and made a few of my things with that. Again, I've backed it onto the cardstock, but music and Christmas definitely belong together, so I thought I would throw some of those in, and I've just created like a banner shape for that. Don't need a die cut for that one. I did also die cut some hearts. I'm sure you can find, if you don't have a heart die cut, you can find a template online, or you don't even need to do hearts, but I thought I'd do some hearts. I did throw in a couple of beautiful green glitter tags. I love sparkly things, so I had to throw in some glitter, and I had a nice little piece of the dark green, so I've thrown that in. This is cut from one of the collage sheets. Now, I also have a die that makes these cute little journal cards, but you can cut your own and then just round the corners or leave them as a rectangle. It doesn't matter. I've also used the music sheet to make some actual tag shape. Another heart, another piece of one of the collage pieces, and so forth. And I have made 25 of them. Now, if you are short on time or space, you might like to just do this project for the 12 days of Christmas. I just decided I wanted to do the whole 25, so that is what I have done. This is another little bit from my stash. It's like an old gold metallic card. I just had one little scrap left. I managed to cut that banner out, so I've used that. But as I said, it's up to you to decide where you want to, how big you want to make this project. But the name of the game is to keep things simple and to make it work for you. Now, if you're really busy, choose the pages that you print out, pick the really pretty ones. But if you just left them like this, all you would have to do is add a number. I've happened to add, this 25 was on one of the collage sheets that I cut up, so I've popped that on there. You simply need to number them 1 to 12, 1 to 25. You could hang these up now and they would look gorgeous. Or you can be like me and decide you want to embellish further, but that's completely up to you. For now, we need 25 or 12 pieces, however many you want, with space to write on the back. Okay, and I'll explain more about that later. So we need some shapes. To hang our shapes up, you will need some form of string or wire, whatever you have handy. I found this in my stash. I know somewhere I have a red and white candy colour rope in a roll. I can't find that at the moment, but anything that you have, you could use wool, anything, but you will need something, obviously, to hang up your pieces. To hang them up, you will need some little pegs. I've found these cute white ones. I think also in my stash I have a little packet of metallic ones. Can't find those either at the moment, but more than happy to use these little white ones if necessary. That's how we're going to hang up our cute little tags. Might be a good idea, depending on how thick yours are, to have some reinforcement rings, which you can place on the back, because we're going to need a hole punch and we're going to use a hole punch. Now, the reason, first of all, we will need the holes in these at the very end of the project, but also by placing a hole in each one of these, it will give these little pegs somewhere to nest in when you clip them up, and it will help save them falling down if they get knocked. So a hole punch to help with the pegs. We need reinforcement labels, and then some decoration if you have time and want to do that. I'll start with these fussy cuts, which are all part of the kit. Gorgeous pieces there. I've got a few more if I need more. And of course, hit your stash. If you're anything like me, you have lots of Christmas embellishments, whether it be ribbons or bows or stickers, anything, you name it. You can very quickly embellish these, take them to the next level, just by using what you have in your stash and some of these gorgeous die cuts. And at the moment, that is all we need for this project. So it is very simple. What we're aiming to do is to create a pretty display that you can hang up in your workspace, hang up in your lounge room. You might even consider making these for your kids, because what we're going to do is hang them up, and then every day you will take the appropriate number, which these will have numbers on it when I'm finished, and on the back you will write down the one thing from that day that you were truly grateful for, and you'll hang it back up. And when it's finished, I'll show you what we're going to do. But for now, that is what you need for the basic setup. When I come back, I will show you how I have embellished all these. To save time, I'm not going to embellish them on camera. The video will be so long while I and and fluff around, but I will explain very clearly how I've done each one, and to give you some ideas in case you have time and want to go to town making a Christmas bunting. But of course, that's completely up to you. So I'll be back soon to show you what I got up to. Well, it's a few days later and all my tags are finally decorated. Unfortunately, this thing called work got in my way, so it took me a little bit longer than I planned. Even though some of them are very, very simply decorated, it was a fabulous stash busting exercise. I used all sorts of scraps from my ridiculously large Christmas collection of goodies. And obviously, instead of making you sit through and watch me decorate all of these, which would take hours, I'm just going to show you them all and point out the highlights that I have added to them. So let's start at the top. Number one is a delightful collage image, virtually needed nothing, but I used one of the tags up here and then just cut it off, added the number one and put some sparkles on her hat. I thought that was appropriate, but left it at that. Very simple. Number two, with my round ones, I used some gold metallic cardstock to make them look a little bit like baubles. This one simply has a tree on it, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but I did use some of the, what's it called? Glossy accents on some of the little round dots just to make them stand out a little bit. Very simple. The next one, I stamped this holly leaf on, realised my green ink pad is just about at its death's door. Might have to get a new one. Just used a red gel pen to cover up the green and make them look like berries. Then, of course, added one of the fussy cuts and a number three. Very simple, left it at that. Number four, we've been decorating around work and there was this chunk of tinsel that was going in the bin. So I nabbed it, I cut off some of the strips, put some glue in the middle and then just sort of created this round shape with that lovely tinsel, including hollow bits, and then added a fussy cut on top. And I punched the hole over on the side. It can hang on a bit of an angle. I don't mind that, but I think that turned out quite cute. The next one, I have a mason jar die cut. So obviously I cut the die out of the green card, recut another piece with the gold and just cut it off so that my little cookie jar had a lid. This was just in my stash, and it's just to help tone down all the green, even though I do love it. And then 3 of the fussy cuts I've popped in here to look like a cookie jar, especially because in my family, I'm the chief baker for Christmas. I take care of all the sweet things, so this certainly represents Christmas to me. The next one, this card is from one of the collages. I've cut it out. I've used my favourite ink, which is this ink pad. It's a Brilliance, and it's called Rocket Red Gold. So I just used the ink pad like this around the edges. Where it went on a bit thicker, I've swiped it. So you sort of get this lovely red gold finish. I absolutely adore it. Then these 2 little pieces were on one of the collage sheets, and I thought putting together the 3 Holy Kings as well as tincture of myrrh, that was a good combination for that one. Number 7, I stuck a piece of coffee dyed paper down just so my 2 cute little gingerbread girl and boy would stand out a little bit more. This tiny little piece that I've cut here just to sort of fill that gap there was from one of the collage sheets. And then I had this ribbon in my stash. I've simply cut out the word Christmas. It fitted perfectly, and I've glued that down. Pardon me. Number 8, I have just stuck some ribbon pieces down the side. I had these little bits in my stash, including a piece of rickrack, of which I have sewn on a little bell, and then put this gorgeous die cut that had the ribbon on it. I thought that was a good match for this card. Number 9, I just grabbed some of my beads and I have sewn down a Christmas tree shape, just going in and out at the ends, and then a little star on top. Number 10, this one honestly is again from one of the collage sheets. It's beautiful as it is. So I just found this red bow in my stash, and I've glued it down so it doesn't go anywhere, but I didn't glue right at the top so that my little peg can still go in for when I hang this up. And then of course popped a number 10 on it. Number 11, I have just been using some little scrap pieces here. I had this scrap of glitter gold and these little words. This is one of the page pieces that I cut out, and I love this cute little gingerbread cookie, so he's gone on there. And then Believe in the Magic, I had that in my stash, so I just added that one. Number 12, now this is, I think I've used 3 pieces from this sheet. This is 1 page, but I printed it at 50% size. Obviously, because I wasn't using it as a journal page, I was using it as deco. The images were too big. So I just printed it down to 50%, and I think that size correlates perfectly with this project. I just tore that bit off, glued it down, fussy cut out a green glitter tree, added a gold star, left it at that. Number 13, again, this is one of the gorgeous collage sheets. It really didn't need much work. I had a little scrap that I glued on down here, and I included this German sweet chocolate, which is in one of the fussy cut sheets, and I left it at that. Number 14, this is a gold metallic cardstock that has been embossed. I've just glued that down. I've done the same thing around this edge, except I just used a gold version of these inks and fussy cut out the candles, and then also added this little gift book from the ephemera sheet. I just thought that sort of looked quite cute, and I like the brown, red, green sort of all happening on both of those together, so I thought that went really well. 15, again, just a piece, this is actually a piece of craft paper, not coffee dyed paper. Now, I did stamp some gold gingerbread men on there, but they've sort of just disappeared into the blur. You can hardly see them, but anyway, doesn't matter. Again, putting the craft paper down behind these helps them to stand out a bit, because this is such a busy background sheet. and I've put the 2 hearts on, used a gold glitter pen just to draw some strings on, and I had this little joyful sentiment in my stash. Oh, I haven't cut the hole on this one. Must do that. We'll do that shortly. Then number 7, oh, we're up to 16. Whoops, wrong way round. Again, my green glitter cardstock. This is the second piece from the page that I printed at 50%. And again, I think that size works perfectly with these tags. I had these little bits in my stash. Don't know where they came from, but I thought a cute little Santa. And then the little gold Believe banner was also in my stash, and I just cut the corners off just to make it fit my tag. Number 17, very simple again. This is just one of the cutouts, and all I've done is put a little bit of glue down each side of the candle and added some gold holographic glitter and a tiny little sentiment that I had in my stash. See, some of these are really very simple, but I think they turned out beautifully. Number 18, die cut out the Christmas tree. This is one of the this is one of the journal pages that I had printed out. Did add a gold hollow star. It seemed like a perfect fit in there. And then just fussy cut out the little present stack to put down the bottom there. And again, use the gold around the edges. Where are we up to? 19. Had this tie in my stash. I just cut it off, glued it down, then used one of the gift tags to make a gift tag and added this cute little gingerbread flower for day 19. Again, very simple, very scrap busterish. Love it. Number 20. Now, I also found this in my stash. This is, I made this, I think, a couple of years ago, and I had a bit left over. So I've simply glued that down. It's very decorative, but I thought it was perfect for on this matte gold cardstock. Added a couple of gingerbread bells. And then for the next piece, because this, of course, was a tiny bit too long, I had this little scrap cut out. So for day 21, I've just done a little collage and sewn on a button just to hold everything nicely in place. And now I have used up that entire piece, doing those two. Then day 22, I just got some texture paste and a stencil of a doily and popped that on, let that dry overnight, and then added this gorgeous cupcake. This is, again, part of a collage sheet that I cut up from the kit, and that's day 22. 23, found these holly leaf stickers in my stash, and by putting them around the edge, I've again tried to create a little bit of contrast so that you can see this gorgeous gingerbread deer. And I actually finished a sticker sheet by popping them on there. That always makes me happy. Then this one here, I know I said earlier that I wasn't going to do anything wintry, but couldn't help myself. Had to use this gorgeous snow globe. Now, again, this is the third piece from the sheet that I printed at 50%. Again, isn't the size just perfect for those baubles? This is where the tree was. I had torn that out. And then this bit here was also sort of torn. I've just trimmed it down. Added the gorgeous snow globe because I love it. And added some glitter inside Mr. Snow Globe. He is so very cute. And this one is to represent for me next year, my family, we are all going to Europe. We are going to have a white Christmas. And our Christmas, because my parents are German, is on the 24th. So I thought that was the perfect day to represent what our Christmas in 2024 will hopefully look like. And lucky last, again, this gorgeous piece of collage sheet needed nothing except I added this 25, which was cut out from another piece of the collage. And I found this very cute vintage sort of clock in my stash, and I just had to add that. But otherwise, nothing else was needed. So quickly we need to punch a hole in this one because I forgot it. And actually this is quite convenient that this is the case. Now, I showed you earlier that my pegs that I'm using are very tiny. So if I had put this and put it right down to where it would go to, my hole is going to be cut way too far down and it's not going to help these little pegs sit in the spot that I want them to, okay? So I had to do a little bit of measuring, and to make it fit, I had to put my hole 3 millimeters down instead of all the way down, which we would normally do. So first of all, what I did, I marked roughly sort of the center. What have we got? Whoops, a daisy. Come back here, pencil. Pop that down there. And that's just to sort of make sure that I center it as best as possible. Then I measured 3 millimeters down, grabbed my hole punch, then lined up in the center of my hole punch where that lower one is and cut it out literally just below the 3 millimeter mark. So now I have mine cut quite high, but that's for the sake of my little pegs. All right, so now, of course, let's put this one back in place. 16, that's number 15. Okay, so obviously what we're going to do is we're going to hang up our string wherever you want it on display in your home, and you're going to feed the little pegs on and at the same time hang them all up. Okay. Now, this one I've noticed is a bodgy peg because the one bit is a lot thinner than the other. But what do you expect from El Cheapo things from overseas, unfortunately? Now, of course, if you have larger pegs, you don't have to be so concerned about this. But the whole idea is I want the peg to be able to sit in here. It's just going to help stop them falling off if anyone knocks your creation. So you hang all these up in your craft room, in your lounge room, wherever you want. Then every day, at the end of the day, you're going to grab the respective tag and write on the back something you're really grateful for, or something fabulous that happened that day, anything, it doesn't matter, just something positive, okay? Then when December 25 has passed, you are going to put them all together. In this case, I'm going to put mine onto this giant ring I have in my stash. There's no reason why you couldn't tie them together with ribbon, but the reason why I like the idea of using a ring is that you will be then able to flip through it. And you are going to have a really pretty reminder of all the good things that happened in the month of December, even if it's just the fact that the sun shone or that you had a yummy cup of coffee, because I do appreciate that sometimes December can be a very stressful month for a lot of people. There's a lot of things we have to do, especially if we're mothers. There are meals to prepare and presents to buy and parties to go to. And sometimes at the end of the day, it can be a little bit hard to be grateful, but there's usually always something. And so you will have a really pretty reminder of what your December looked like. You can then put this away, put it on display the next year without actually hanging it up. And you see, by making all these tags, whoops-a-daisy, make sure I get this right, all different shapes and sizes, it looks really interesting. And you'll notice I tried using quite a few traditional junk journal techniques because it's something that we love doing. We're then reflecting this in a craft project for 2024, and it may even help your family and friends understand why you love playing with paper so much and why you have this stash of all these things. This is a really lovely way to introduce them to it. And have a look. How delightful does that look? So that will, of course, become like a gratitude memory album. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some inspiration to do something like this, even if you don't do all the decorating. you can still create a gorgeous journal like this to remember December 2023. Now, I just wanted to point out one thing that's happened because I'm later in this series. You may have noticed, if you've seen in the groups, there are people on Etsy trying to sell copies, exact copies of Rachel and Bella Craft's beautiful kit that she would have obviously spent days trying to create for us all to use. Down below is a link for all the people participating in this hop. It also provides the link for the shop where you can buy these goodies. If you haven't already bought this kit, please, please, please only use that link. Do not go to Etsy and accidentally make a purchase of one of these fake copies, because to me that is just like, it is so devastating. It is so wrong. The ones I have seen, I have reported, and I hope they get taken down. So just a little note of warning. So there we go. If you are inspired to create anything like this, I would love to see it. Now, obviously, we have a hashtag for this project, but you will also know that Instagram is very cruel and has taken away showing us all the images that match a particular hashtag. It only shows you the most popular. So there's going to be lots of lovely crafters that don't get their work seen. If you use any of these ideas, can you please tag me on Instagram? My Instagram handle is www.designsstudio. Please tag me, because then I will be able to see what you've created. I will happily share what you've created, but I can't rely on the hashtag. So that's just one little favor I am asking of you. I would love to see it, because that's what these collaborations are all about. So I truly hope you enjoyed my video. Have fun Christmas crafting. And just finally, thank you again, Rach and Bella Crafts, for inviting me to participate. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.